Mega Man X7 is one of the worst examples of 2D to 3D conversion. I hate this game. And look, we all love Mega Man X. It's fantastic! X2 and X3 were fantastic. X4 was great. X5 was, good. And X6 was not as good. But they were all still fun. But nothing was being done to freshen up the series. But this? Anything would have been better than this. At the time, I was excited to play a Mega Man X game with 3D graphics. It was gonna be so cool. I was pumped. What the heck is this doofus? This isn't X. This isn't Zero. No, this is Axel. A new character created with the sole purpose of pumping fresh blood into the series and the story. And I don't hate him. His design is alright, and he has enough uniqueness compared to X or Zero. I'd much rather be playing as either one of them, but playing as Axel is just fine. Nope, no, I lied. This plays like ass. Doesn't matter who I am, this is bad. You'll never truly understand until you play it yourself, but this sucks. It immediately feels grossly sluggish compared to the 6 previous Mega Man X games. You can still dash and whatever, but you can't help but feel you're moving through molasses the whole time. If it's not obvious right now, it sure is right here. This is what destroyed Mega Man X7 and made it absolute shit. The 3D sections. I swear to God, you somehow move slower during these than the 2D sections. This was X7's attention-grabbing gimmick. Not only are you playing X, but now it's in true 3D! Except you're not X! And this isn't good. Look how close the camera is. It also has a downward angle at all times. It's like walking down the street with your head hanging down staring at your feet and expecting not to walk into anybody. At least it's relatively brief, as the game switches me over to Zero. Finally, something familiar. Speaking of familiar, Zero mentions he can't believe that he's back here again. What he means by that is that this level is supposed to be the same one from the original Mega Man X. They do this throughout the whole game. There are a slew of X1 enemies remade for this game. There's a certain sense of desperation when you think you can use nostalgia to make people love your game. Hey there, baby, don't I look sexy? You wanna come over and play? Gotcha! Zero and Axel kill a big crab, and then plot. Axel used to be part of a group called Red Alert, a new band of vigilante maverick hunters. Something about them changed, which made Axel leave, and now he wants to be a true hunter like X and Zero. X responds by saying, "Mrrr, violence." And Axel and Zero go off to defeat the 8 bounty hunters of Red Alert. So then you get to play as Zero. And Axel. And not X. How do you do that? How do you mess that up? How do you make it that the very character that the goddamn game is named after isn't even playable? He's front and center on the cover! Okay, yes, Zero is cool. I love playing as Zero, at least in the other games. But when I play a Mega Man X game, I want to play as X, goddammit! Plus, Zero doesn't save it. Zero sucks now. His saber swings are just as slow and sluggish as running around. The previous games had him just right, with his saber swing speed being lightning fast and having very defined swing arcs so you know where you can hit enemies. And in X7, it's just sad. And I can't really tell where in the animation this saber even connects with enemies, especially in the 3D sections. Whatever, let's do the first stage with Soldier Stone Kong. Even the boss intro screens are uninspired. And no, Axel isn't very fun to play either. His deal is that he can kill enemies with a special shot and copy them entirely, which is actually an okay mechanic in theory if it mattered in more than one place. The main problem with it is that in order to get the DNA copy core, you have to kill them with a special shot as the last hit. And enemies take so much damage. And the special shot does crap for damage, so you use your normal gun to weaken them, and then you risk killing them and not getting the DNA core. Not that changing into them is all that useful. Some of them let you go into areas you otherwise can't, but they are not better to play as at all. So basically, Axel's one defining feature is rendered moot. All you really need him to do is shoot. Speaking of shooting, X7 has a lock-on mechanic for firing. The lock-on happens automatically for every target, and you can switch between them. This means firing as Axel has him automatically aiming at enemies, and half the challenge of a Mega Man game is taken away. Look, what is the main thing you do in every Mega Man game? You jump and you shoot. It wasn't just jumping for platforming's sake, it was also for aiming Mega Man's shots into enemies and their weak points. Adding in a lock-on mechanic ruins half the point of a Mega Man game. No longer is it moving forward and jumping and shooting to take out enemies with any semblance of skill. Now it's moving forward and mashing the shoot button because it hits everything for you. What is the point? It's a technical and design hindrance. Okay, look at this idiot. This is a freaking boss, and I'm just standing here shooting him. That's it. He's easy as balls because I don't have to do anything. Mega Man X7 retains the Reploid saving mechanic from X5 and X6, where saving Reploids throughout stages earns you power-ups. Some of them aren't worth anything, some give heart tanks, others weapon ups, one-ups, etc. There's no way to know which Reploid gives which until afterwards, so you could unintentionally power up someone you didn't mean to. Axel. We all know how games these days are over-tutorialized. They have to explain everything. But I swear to God, the deep dark plummet into that began with Mega Man X7. Alia returns from previous games and she explains everything. When you get ready to insert your upgrade chips, she explains that chips upgrade your abilities. Every time, for every single chip. Get 2 in one stage? Don't worry, she'll explain both. Get 2 and more in another stage? Well, let Alia explain them to you again. And yeah, she calls in during stages too.
Can you hear me, Zero?
They have a tutorial for everything. They explain how to use a stage select. I know how to select a stage. I killed Stone Kong, and the next one up is Vanishing Gun Guru. This stage introduces Ride Armor, another Mega Man X staple, and this is the only stage with Ride Armor. They're slow, and they're dumb, and they try to lock on things through walls. I have to reiterate how stupid the 3D sections are. They do not add anything gameplay-wise, and they are totally wasted in any sense of potential. The previous Mega Man X games all had a certain rhythm to them. Moving forward, jumping, and shooting. And the shooting was important because you had to take out enemies. Besides the fact that blowing dudes up is fun, it was a solution to a problem obstructing your forward path. Shoot to remove the obstacle. This is why jumping and shooting was vital, to aim your shots even in the slightest or hit weak points to clear your path. Mega Man X7 ruins all that by wanting to be 3D. I mentioned how the lock-on removes 2 aspects of shooting already, but when you're in a 3D area and they fill it with enemies, you can just walk around them. They're no longer an obstacle that needs to be solved, they're a minor inconvenience that can be circumvented. At no point does the level design complement the 3D aspect and make something truly unique, interesting, or fun throughout all of Mega Man X7. All of the 2D sections are shitty too, so it's not like they get a free pass. Before every boss fight, the robots exchange a few words, and Axel and Gun Guru totally have the same voice actor.
I'm not the kid you used to know! But you're acting like a kid right now!
Have I mentioned how awful the voice acting is in this game? Because it makes Mega Man X4 look masterful.
What's going on?
Axel doesn't know how to inflect.
My friends in Red Alert are all really skilled Reploids.
X sounds whiny at everything.
Why must Reploids fight one another? I've had enough violence.
And Zero's only attempt at sounding cool is by trying to make his voice as deep as possible.
Well, this is turning into a real mess.
And this isn't even to say anything of all the terrible bosses. After defeating Gun Guru, there's a cutscene of Axel explaining that Red Alert used him for all of his DNA core copy data. And the reason they want him back so badly is because he's the only one that can do it. So build another one. Yeah, Axel's the only one with this ability, but he's still a goddamn robot. Someone at some point created him. So make another one. Next was Wind Crow Rang with stupid 3D platforming with complete lack of depth perception. And then Tornado Tunyon, who spins around like an idiot, followed by Splash Warfly. There isn't much to say of their stages. Tunyon's was straightforward and was nothing more than a time waster before the boss, and Warfly's stage is entirely 3D, embodying everything that I mentioned earlier. And the fights themselves are stupid and simple enough that there really isn't anything to elaborate on. More cutscenes play out, with a mysterious person speaking to Red, the leader of Red Alert. An incredibly mysterious villain character. Who could it possibly be? Another cutscene plays out immediately afterward, with Cygnus and Aelia saying that Zero and Axel are having a tough time keeping their efforts up. That's when X, our brave hero, steps up and chooses to fight as well. And Zero is ecstatic to have his best friend back in action.
Okay, do as you please.
Remember all those random-ass Reploids you can save? You must save 64 of them for X to become playable. Each stage has 14 Reploids. This means you must complete, at minimum, 5 stages to finally play as X. And by the time you get them, Axel and Zero have been powered up by rescuing said Reploids and getting those chip thingies. Which means, when you finally have X, he sucks. He's completely underpowered compared to the other 2 characters. Yes, it's possible to get him caught up by playing solely as X, but you'll be suffering up to that point. Like playing through Snipe Anteater stage. It throws in a reverse gravity 3D area for no discernible reason. This doesn't change anything. It doesn't add interesting gameplay or platforming mechanics. This isn't level design. All it does is reverse your controls and makes everything confusing. While playing as X, I also realized that these special weapons are completely uninspired and ineffective. Much like the platforming, they weren't created with the 3D space in mind. So they easily miss their targets or lack any kind of actual impact against enemies. One of the best features of the previous games was using weapons against normal enemies or situations for quicker progression. Or better yet, using them to affect the environment to discover secrets. In X7, there's none of that. At no point is a special weapon needed to discover a secret or hidden item. And each character's standard weapon is way better than any acquired power. Hell, even when used as weaknesses against bosses, they barely get damaged. Well, except for Gungaru, he suffers from Spark Mandrill syndrome. But hey, at least the armor capsules for X are still here. These were always some of the best things to find. The first one I got was the leg parts. This is gonna make up for it. They've done so much with his legs before. Dashing, air dashing, hovering, rocketing forward. What did they come up with in a 3D Mega Man X game? F it. If they gave up, so do I. The other armor parts are just as uninspired as everything else in this game. Body gives you an explosion attack, the arms charge super weapons, that's it, and the head collects items from afar. Speaking of items, did you catch the sound that plays whenever you get a heart tank or a 1-up? Here. Did you miss it? One more time. Did you like that sound effect? 'Cause there is none! These are important items, and their urgency is highlighted by a jingle sound or fanfare to let you know you did a good. Without these sounds in X7, it gives the feeling of, who cares? Which is probably how the development team felt the whole time they were working on this. Okay, I do want to say at least one good thing about Mega Man X7, and that's the swap mechanic. You go into every stage with 2 characters, and you can freely switch between them at any moment. I actually really like this. There are some situations where their different abilities have advantages, like Zero's double jump or X and Axel's ranged shots. And you can freely change between them whenever, like when one character's life drops too low. It makes these characters actually feel like a hunting team for once. I'm glad that they kept this for Mega Man X8. I only have 2 stages left, including Ride Borsky, and this is a chaser bike level. Oh man, remember the chaser bikes from the old games? They were so cool and gave such a great sense of speed, and they're all like zoom, and they were sweet. How are they in this game? This entire stage is about going around in a loop, collecting bombs in a time limit. You have an accelerate button, but the turning controls are so shockingly sluggish and unresponsive that it's impossible to control yourself at high speeds. It's so much better and easier to go as slow as possible, and you can see how exciting that is. And the Ride Borsky boss fight is great. You know, if you like intolerable slowdown. Okay, there's one boss left, and I've kept him for last on purpose. Those who have played the game know exactly who I'm talking about. Now I'm just gonna skip right to him. I have plenty of complaints about his stage and how it sets you up for failure, but none of that compares to the boss fight alone. I present to you, unedited, Flame Hineyard.
Burn! Burn to the ground! Burn to the ground! Burn!
Oh god, it happens the whole boss fight. I thought Tornado Tunyon was bad.
Around and around!
I thought Vanishing Gungaroo was bad.
Wide angle.
They are nothing compared to Flame Hineyard.
Burn!
Just stop. Just stop. Why can't everyone in this game just stop talking?
Can you hear me, Zero?
Shut up! It never gets better. There is no high point in this game. The first stage into finding Red Alert's secret base is a super slow runaway from the armored armadillo bot. This has nothing to do with their base. It's a complete throwaway stage with a nostalgic enemy. Remember how the old Sigma stages built up your platforming skills and presented you with challenging parts that require you to use all of your abilities and weapon upgrades? Not here. It's slowly run from a robot, go through 2 stages so easy it only exists to waste your time, and then fight Red. Ugh, whatever. Red dies, and it's revealed that, gasp, Sigma is behind everything. It plays out exactly how you think from here. Defeat the 8 bosses again, fight Sigma once, then fight him again in a bigger body. One that's bigger than the planet, apparently. Really, at this point, whatever. Sigma dies, and then they somehow end up back on Earth, and Sigma is normal-sized again? And he messes Axel right up. Sigma gets ready to fight X and Zero once more, and then Red shows up to help Sigma. But surprise! Red is actually Axel who copied him, and he blasts Sigma in his robot brain. Afterwards, Cygnus says that with all the good deeds that Axel has done, he should join X and Zero as hunters. Then X is all, violence! And Cygnus is like, dude, come on.
Oh, that was painful.
I love Mega Man. I love the X series. I mean, they've gotten stale at different points in their lives, but they were never bad. Except for this. That's why my final rating for this game is a bleeding ear out of 10. Obnoxious, irritating, and enough to make you instantly snap the controller in half. Everything about X7 is wrong. They couldn't even get the 2D sections right. How could they possibly make the 3D good? They couldn't. I didn't even mention the numerous glitches or the bizarre gameplay whatevers. It gives you that constant pain in your head that makes your brain leak out the sides. And if the game itself doesn't do that, the constant, excruciating voice acting definitely will. Everybody wants Capcom to make new Mega Man games, I get that, but they weren't all good, and we need to accept the fact that there's a pretty good chance that it could come out like this. At least when it comes to Mega Man X7, I can be done with it forever.
Can you hear me, Zero?
Shut
Can you hear me,
Ah! Hey, thank you so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more future videos. Speaking of which, if you want to watch some more, oh dude, remember Tamagotchis? Well, here's a little video I made about them. And if you want instant updates on future videos, be sure to check out my Twitter and my Facebook. Thanks for watching.